ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علمك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about different ways Satan gets into our hearts based on the book Al-Mahajjat al-Bayda fi Tahdhib al-Ihya, and we said this is compiled by the late Mullah Muhsin Faid al-Kashani based on the book Ihya Ulumuddin by Ghazali. So we already mentioned few things. We talked about greediness, al-hirs. We talked about hasad, jealousy. We talked about ghadab and shahwa, anger and appetites. We talked about excessive love for beautification and having beautiful furniture, house, cars, this type of things. The next one is about eating too much. One of the ways that Satan can get power against us is to eat too much, even if it is halal food and it is your own money, everything is all right. But when you have excessive eating, that's a problem. So he says, وَمِنْ أَبْوَابِهِ الْعَظِيمَةِ. One of the great gates for Satan to enter. It's not a small gate. A great gate for Satan to enter is الشبع من الطعام. Is to be full. وَإِنْ كَانَ حَلَالًا صَافِيًا. It's a nice food, it's halal, it's pleasant, yeah? But you should not eat too much. Why? Because فَإِنَّ الشَّبَعَ يُقَبِّ الشَّهَوَاتِ وَالشَّهَوَاتِ أَسْلَحَةُ الشَّيْطَانِ. When you eat too much, your lower desires, your appetites increase. And that can be used as a weapon by Shaitan. Shaitan has more control over people. Of course, he has no absolute control, but can be more powerful against the people who have eaten too much, and therefore now they have more shahwa, lower desire. And in the book Self-Development, when there is a section about practical instructions, so self-development. So I have mentioned one of the 5 major instructions of Muslim scholars is not to eat too much. Hunger is very powerful. If someone especially feels that is under great pressure, for example, a person cannot get married or whatever, fasting is very good, hunger is very good, but at least not to eat too much. Don't make your stomach full. So, الشهوات أسلحة الشيطان. They are like weapons for Shaitan. It has been said in some collections of hadith. Of course, this hadith is mentioned by Ghazali, and then Mullah Muhsin also repeats. It's from our Sunni brothers sources that Inna Iblis Zahara li Yahya alayhi salam. Once Iblis, Satan, manifested himself for Yahya, John the Baptist, Yahya alayhi salam, the son of Zachariah. فَرَعَى عَلَيْهِمْ مَغَالِيقَ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Yahya alayhi salam saw that Satan has many locks. Maghaliq is the plural form for mighlaq. And mighlaq is opposite to miftah. Miftah, mafatih, wa indahu mafatihul ghayb. So, miftah is to open. Mighlaq is to close, to lock. Okay? So it's like chains and locks, you know. Satan has lots of chains. There is an interesting hadith that in some sources, you know, has been quoted. Inna min al-nas mafatiha lil-shar maghaliqa lil-khayr. There are some people that they have this, you know, characteristic that when it comes to good, they close the gates of good coming to you. They block good. When it comes to bad, they open. So they bring all the bad to you and they don't let any good come to you. Inna min al-nas mafatiha lil-shar. They are like keys for bad. So they open, all the keys, bad come to you. Maghaliqa lil-khayr. But they close good. So, Yahya alayhi salam saw Satan while Satan had on him many locks and like chains and you know this type of things. فقال له يحيى عليه السلام يا إبليس ما هذه المغاليق. It is interesting that Yahya alayhi salam realized that this is Iblis. Yeah? It's important that he realized. He said, what are these locks? قال هذه الشهوات التي أصبت بها بني آدم. These are the lower desires by which I can reach and hit children of Adam. Iblis keeps using Bani Adam because he has problem with the father of all of us. So he keeps telling us, you know, children of Adam. So he says these are the things by which I can take them under my control and I can arrest them. Yahya alayhi salam said, فَهَلْ لِي فِيهَا شَيْءٌ. Among these things that you have to lock people and imprison people, arrest people, is there anything for me? So it's very moving. So he's a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Yahya. And you know, Yahya was a very special person, very pious, very pure, very innocent. So Shaytan said, ربما شبعت فثقلناك عن الصلاة وعن الذكر. Sometimes you ate too much and then I made you feel heavy so that you couldn't say your salat and remember Allah properly. So Yahya doesn't commit any sin, but Shaitan has this much hope that at least can make Yahya feel heavy, either delays his salat or when he goes for salat, he doesn't have that, you know, preparation and that readiness for talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Shaitan does his best to harm anyone as much as he can. قال هل غير ذلك. Yahya alayhi salam said, is there anything else? قال لا. Then Shaitan said, no. That's the only thing that I have managed to use against you. Then قال يحيى لله علي ألا أملأ بطني من طعام أبدا. He said, for the sake of Allah, I will never fill my stomach. So he got the lesson. And Iblis says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَيَّ أَلَّا أَنْصَحَ مُسْلِمًا أَبَدًا. Shaytan said, and I swear by Allah that I'm not going to give any advice to anyone because they are going to use it against me. So, you can even learn from Shaytan and use against him. So, this is one of the gates of Shaytan. Then, وَمِنْ أَبْوَابِهِ الْعَظِيمَةِ الطَّمَعُ فِي النَّاسِ. One of the great gates of Shaytan to enter is when you have expectation from people to get something from them. الطَّمَعُ فِي النَّاسِ. You know, we have many hadiths about قَطْعُ الطَّمَعِ أَمَّا فِي أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. If you want to be pleased with people, and you want people to be pleased with you, don't expect from them. Suppose your father is very rich, but you should not expect your father to help you. If you don't expect from your father, whether he gives you or not, you will be pleased. And also when your father knows that you don't expect from him, he is pleased with you. Yeah? But if you expect from him, then you will never be satisfied, and also he will be always worried. Why my son is expecting too much from me? So, we should not let our heart develop too much expectations from people. وَمِنْ أَبْوَابِهِ الْعَظِيمَةِ الطَّمَعُ فِي النَّاسِ. To have expectation from people. Why? فَإِذَا غَلَبَ الطَّمَعُ عَلَى الْقَلْبِ. When tama, expectation, becomes dominant and takes over your heart, لَمْ يَزَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ يُحْسِنُ التَّصَنُّعَ وَالتَّزَيُّنَ لِمَنْ طَمِعَ فِيهِ. Then Shaitan keeps working. Says, okay, you want this person to help you or give you something, give you money, give you position. So you have to make yourself dear to him, lovable to him or her. Okay? Then Riya comes. You want to show off.
Dear to the Satan.
Pardon?
You try and make yourself dear to the Satan.
No. There is a person or someone that you want to get from him something. You have expectations. But Shaitan says, you cannot just sit. You have to do something to draw his attention to yourself. So, show off. And start flattering him. Say, things that he doesn't deserve. So, little by little, you lose your independence, you lose your integrity, you become just like a puppet. لم يزل الشيطان يحسن التصنع والتزين لمن طمع فيه. Shaitan keeps telling him, you should make yourself look better for that person, more attractive, draw his attention to yourself. بأنواع الرياء والتلبيس. With different types of riya, showing off, different types of talbis. Talbis means to deceive, deception. Some people who work in some offices, for example, they do lots of things to make the head of the office happy. They invite him, his family, they, give gifts, they praise, they publish in newspapers, for example, congratulations, just to get the attention of that person. حتى يصير المطموع فيه كأنه معبوده. To the extent that that person that he expects to get from him becomes like his ma'bud, as if he's going to worship him, his Lord. فلا يزال يتفكر في حيلة التودد والتحبب إليه. He keeps thinking, how can I make him love me? How can I make him, respect me more? ويدخل كل مدخل في الوصول إلى ذلك. Then keeps trying every possible way to get him, towards himself. وأقل أحواله. The minimum that can happen is الثناء عليه بما ليس فيه. The minimum is to praise him for something that he has not had. Yeah? Says, you are the wisest manager. You are the most efficient, manager. And this person is just normal or less than normal. To praise people when you know that they don't deserve it. وَالْمُدَاهَنَةُ مَعَهُ. And he tries to do mudahana. Mudahana comes from duhn. Duhn means oil. Okay, mudahana means like compromising about the truth by, just trying to make things look nice on the surface. Mudahana. وَدُّوا لَوْ تُدْهِنُوا فَيُدْهِنُونَ. بِتَلْكَ الْأَمْرِ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَالنَّهْيِ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. So if he's doing something wrong, he wouldn't say anything. Because he says, if I say you did mistake, then he would lose his interest in me. So it's very important to be careful not to put our trust in anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not to have as much as possible tama, expectations from people. Rely on yourself, your efforts, under Allah's, of course, provision. But there are some also cases that are different. For example, when it comes to parents or teacher, some say, even to flatter is not bad. Or parents, because this is something, first of all, no matter how much you praise your parents, it's not enough. Yeah? So even if you are not thinking that this is what they deserve, but as long as it's not an obvious lie, it's okay. Parents, and sometimes, teachers, they're different, but people who have money, people who have position, people that from dunya you are praising them, this type of thing. قد روى صفوان بن سليم سليم أن إبليس تمثل لعبد الله بن حنظلة. Shaytan manifested himself. We have many stories about Shaytan in these pages. لعبد الله بن حنظلة وقال يا ابن حنظلة احفظ عني شيئا أعلمك. Learn something from me, memorize something. I'm going to teach you one thing. Remember. قال لا حاجة لي به. He says, I don't need you to teach me. Shaytan said, انظر فإن كان خيرا قبلت وإن كان شرا رددت. Shaytan said, don't rush. Listen to me. If it is good, take it. If it's not good, reject it. Then he said, يا ابن حنظلة لا تسأل أحدا غير الله شيئا سؤال رغبة. Never ask anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something in the way that you have raghba in that person. You do it with eagerness and expectations from that person. You can ask questions, sometimes you go to a doctor, ask for help, you go to a teacher, ask for guidance, this type is not bad, but in the sense that, please help me, something that puts you in a bad condition and gives that person a, boost. وَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ تَكُونْ إِذَا غَضِبْتَ. The second advice that Shaitan gave Ibn Hanzala was, when you are angry, watch yourself. Be careful when you are angry. So, don't expect from people, expect from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you, and be careful when you become angry. So, Shaitan gave good advice to Ibn Hanzala, yes.
Why he's giving these advice to his enemies? Is that Allah's blessing even coming through Shaitan?
Because Shaitan also makes mistakes.
So it's Allah's blessing. His mistakes, Allah's blessing.
Sometimes gives, good advice, but because he is not in good mind at that time, yes. The same person, yes.
So this he was giving for free. This
Pardon?
advice. He gave this advice for free.
Yes.
Maybe he's confident that he will sway them in any case.
Another thing which is very important, can you guess one of the things that Shaitan tries against us and is one of the large and wide gates of Shaitan is to rush. Al-ajala. To be impatient and rush without being considering all different aspects and dimensions of something. وَمِنْ أَبْوَابِهِ الْعَظِيمَةِ الْعَجَلَةُ وَتَرْكُ التَّثَبُّتِ تَثَبُّتْ فِي الْأُمُورِ. Without establishing the fact, without being careful and thinking, you quickly make decision and say something, do something, go somewhere. Okay? قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم according to this hadith which is in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, al-ajalatu min ash-shaytan wa ta'anni min Allah azza wa jalla. To rush is from Shaitan, and to take your time is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, you have to be distinguishing between two things. Sometimes you rush without being prepared, that's a problem. But sometimes you know that this is what I have to do and you do it quickly. This is good. سارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم. If you, for example, you know that you have to come to class. If you can be here 6 o'clock, be 6 o'clock. If you can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes before, it's good. Don't say, I have to take my time at ta'anni min Allah, so I come 15 minutes late. No. If you have already established what I have to do, then don't delay. Ajala is when you are impatient. You rush without thinking, without asking, without taking, advice from people. You want to, for example, choose a subject for a study, or you want to, for example, decide about marriage, about starting a business, about buying a house, befriending someone. You have to inquire, you have to get advice. Okay? So, to rush and to be impatient is one of the ways that Shaitan can use against us, because this is where we can make mistakes. Okay? Especially many times this happens also in socio-political life. When you do something socio-political, you have to be patient. Many times, people want to do things quickly, or people tell them, do it, and they want to satisfy people, and they rush. You have to be making sure that it's the time. If you do it before the time comes, you make damage. Al-umuru marhunatun bi'awqatiha. Everything has its own time. If you do it earlier, it's a problem.
Is it hadith or?
I think it's a hadith, but I'm not sure. But I think it's hadith, but I'm not sure. You can check. I can check. There is a problem also, I think, in our mindset. Unfortunately, many of people who do good things, those who don't do good things, we are not concerned about them. But even the people who do good things, community work, charity work, educational work, good leaders, there is a problem. They want to do things that in their own life they would see the fruits. Many people, they think I should do something that can soon bear fruits and I can see myself the fruits. And this is sometimes very unwise, because this means that we never do anything great.
Short-sighted.
For example, I want to establish a community center, a mosque, Islamic center for our community in a town. Sometimes I say, okay, I have to do something that while I am still alive, it starts functioning. So I say, okay, we have to find a little slot, a small slot of land, and then we make it, build it, or we buy something and we convert it, and we keep then using it. But if I change my mindset, I said, it doesn't matter whether I am going to see it or not. My job is that I put all my energy in buying a very big land. Either we can build it when I'm alive, or at least the people who come after me, they can build it. But if I don't buy a big land, then after 20, 30 years, there is no big land available. Then our community has to suffer forever. So sometimes it's better that we make it clear for ourselves, it doesn't matter whether I'm going to see the fruits or I'm not going to see the fruits. We have this story in Farsi literature, that a young person saw an old farmer planting walnut trees. And walnut tree bears fruits after many years. First year, second year, normally doesn't bear fruits. Of course, now there are some types that bring fruit quickly, but most of the time, no. So this young person said, you are an old man, and you are not going to see the fruits of these trees. Why you are planting these trees? And he said, دیگران کاشتند و ما خوردیم ما میکاریم و دیگران میخوریم. Our fathers, ancestors planted these walnuts, so now we use. We plant something that then people in future can use. Yeah? So this is the way a community can grow. But if everyone says, I should do something that, when I am alive, I can see it's functioning, then we do only little things. A small thing. So you have to be patient. You have to take your time, you have to be patient, give enough time, not more nor less. قال تعالى خلق الإنسان من عجل. Man is created from impatience, means with impatience. وكان الإنسان عجولا. خلق الإنسان من عجل سورة أنبياء verse 37. كان الإنسان عجولا سورة إسراء. Also, Allah said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَلَا تَعْجَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يُقْضَى إِلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ. Surah Taha, verse 114. لا تعجل بالقرآن من قبل أن يقضى إليك وحيه. Before the revelation finishes, don't rush in reciting. So, according to one interpretation, it means that wait till the whole passage is revealed, then start reading for people. And some people also say that another interpretation, that because Rasulullah had received the entire Quran together at one, incident, so he knew the verses of the Quran. So sometime before the revelation was completed, he was passionate to read it for people. Anyway, whatever is the interpretation, the Quran says even when it comes to reading or reciting the Quran, you have to be patient. You shouldn't rush. وهذا لأن الأعمال ينبغي أن تكون بعد البصيرة والمعرفة. Why we say عجلة or impatience is bad? Because actions should be after basira, after having insight, والمعرفة, knowledge. والبصيرة تحتاج إلى تأمل ومهلة. If you want to have good understanding and insight about something, you need to reflect, you need to contemplate. You cannot rush. Nowadays, if you see, when people want to sell you something, they try to rush you. I think I told you once, person was trying to sell me, line, mobile line, and was, our phone said, this offer is only for you, and 24 hours, you have to. I was telling him, I don't want this, or I'm going to ask, our technician. Said, no, it's only up to, this, for example, end of today. They want to rush you. When you go to, for example, market, sometimes you see the shopkeeper, they try to say many different things and then ask you to make a decision quickly.
Hard sell.
Yes, so because they know that when you are rushed, you may make mistake. But when you take your time, you think, you take advice, then you can make a good decision. Of course, I should say also that there is also another thing. Don't waste too much time in bazaar, in market. Because sometimes some people take too much time when they go to bazaar. They spend hours and then they buy 20 pounds, something. Your time is more important. Yeah? So you have to find the balance. البصيرة تحتاج إلى تأمل ومهلة والعجلة تمنع من ذلك. But to rush would not let you to think and to ponder. فعند الاستعجال يروج الشيطان شره من حيث لا يدري. When you rush, in this process, Shaytan promotes and decorates the bad side and you don't notice. For example, people who accept sometimes bribery or do illegal things, many times it's because they rush. If they think about this and what is going to happen and the consequences, many times they don't do it. But when you rush, Shaitan get into it and you accept. روي أنه لما ولد عيسى عليه السلام, when Jesus was born, أتت الشياطين إبليس Iblis is the main shaitan. Yeah? And for Iblis, we normally don't have plural because that's the main shaitan. But when you say ash-shaytan, then you can have also plural, ash-shayatin. Shayatinul jinn, shayatinul ins, yeah? So, when Jesus was born, Satan's went to Iblis, to the main one. فقالت, they said, shayatin said, أصبحت الأصنام قد نكست رؤوسها, or نكست رؤوسها. The idols now have turned down, fallen down. قال هنا حادث قد حدث. Iblis said something must have happened. If the idols now have fallen, something must have happened. مكانكم, wait here. Okay? So it shows that Shaitan himself has some skills or some resources that the people who work for him don't have. So he said, wait, I am going to find out myself. فطار, he flew. حتى جال خافقي الأرض ولم يجد شيئا. He went from one side of the earth to the other side of the earth quickly, because jinn can travel quickly. And he didn't find anything except قد ثم وجد عيسى عليه السلام قد ولد. He realized that Isa عليه السلام is born. So he realized that this must be the reason. وَإِذَا الْمَلَائِكَةُ قَدْ حَفَّتْ حَوْلَهُ. He realized that Isa is born and angels are gathering around Isa. فَرَجَعَ إِلَيْهِمْ. He went back to Shayateen and said, إِنَّ نَبِيًّا قَدْ وُلِدَ الْبَارِحَةِ. Said, a prophet is born last night. ما حملت أنثى قط ولا وضعت إلا وأنا بحضرتها إلا هذا. In my translation, the way, of course, I explained. He said, I don't know what happened. No woman becomes pregnant or delivers unless I am there. This one, I don't know why I was not aware. So it tries, we have this ashrakum, al-amwali wal-ula. So Shaitan is always there, especially when something important like, having a baby is going to happen. Shaitan tries to be there to see if there is any opportunity to do something. But said, I don't know why this one, I didn't know. ما حملت أنثى قط ولا وضعت, means no woman has become pregnant or delivered إلا وأنا بحضرتها, unless I was there. إلا هذا فآيسوا أن تعبد الأصنام بعد هذه الليلة. So Shaitan said, from tonight you have to be dispersed. That idols are going to be worshipped, but I suggest something. ولكن ائتوا بني آدم من قبل العجلة والخفة. Still we have a solution. Even with Jesus, we can do something. Go to the children of Adam and try to attack them with ajala, by being impatient and rush. And khiffa. Khiffa means not to act in a dignified way.
It's very quick.
Quick and without, without dignity and integrity and firmness.
Like magic.
Pardon?
They do like magic, they do
Magic?
very quick.
No. Khifa means you are not firm. You are not acting with dignity and with firmness. Yes.
When Jesus or the other prophet they come into world, the angel normally surrounds them.
Yeah.
And so they are protected from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a common people like us come into this world, we are not protected.
We are also protected.
Up to what limit?
The ayah says لَأُ مُعَقَّبَاتٌ, and under this hadith say every child has some angels to protect.
So it's not kind of jabr.
But it's not that you are 100% protected. Still there can be some catastrophe, but many of the problems are kept away from us.
And the problems are there, is that because of our parents, because they were ignorant about few of the protections which they could have done before?
No, it can be parents, it can be other people, it can be environment, it can be this person's future. Sometimes your future actions define the way Allah treats you in the childhood.
This is something new.
Yes, this is something very important, and we can understand this from Dua Nutbah, from Ziyarat of Lady Fatima, that sometimes, based on what you are going to do in future, in Aqaid, maybe we discuss, based on what you are going to do in future, Allah starts treating you in a special way, even from birth.
Can we smell some sort of...
شرطت عليهم الزهد في دعاء النطق في درجات هذه الدنيا الدنية وزخرفها وزبرجها فشرطوا لك ذلك وعلمت منهم الوفاء به فقبلتهم وقربتهم وقدمت لهم الذكر العليم. Because you knew that they are going to keep this condition, you brought them nearer to you. Okay? So it's possible that Allah, because He knows that in future you are going to be a good person, even from childhood, He does a special preparations for you. Especially if you are going to be a leader, a guide for people. And then if you have something not good in your childhood, is going to affect people. So Allah will protect you from those things even in childhood.
Yes, Aunt.
The other thing I want to ask is, Khifa also means hidden, or
No, that is from khafiya.
That's khafiya.
This is khafif. This is khaffa.
Lightness?
Yes, lightness in the sense of not being firm.
Yeah.
Like you take everything as a joke or not.
Yeah. One of the problems with haram music is that it causes khiffa. People then can play with you easily. They can manipulate your emotions, Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Is this protection extended to the children being born in households of non-Muslims or non-believers?
Yes. Yes, it can. Okay, the next one, this is the last one. ومن أبوابه العظيمة الدراهم والدنانير وسائر أصناف الأموال. Another wide and large gate for Shaitan to enter is to have money, golden coins, silver coins, and other types of money. Furniture, dawab, like horses, camels, donkeys, nowadays, cars, motorcycles, planes, wal-iqar, assets. Iqar means like house, land, properties. وَكُلُّ مَا يَزِيدُ عَلَى قَدْرِ الْقُوتِ وَالْحَاجَةِ فَهُوَ مُسْتَقَرُّ الشَّيْطَانِ. Whatever you have extra to what you need is where Shaitan comes and settles. So the basic things that you need, that's okay. When you have more, Shaitan becomes more greedy. Then he makes an explanation. He says, if you have enough, فَهُوَ فَارِغُ الْقَلْبِ. Your heart is, free. You are not always busy and thinking, what I'm going to do with this, But if you suppose, then find 100 dinar. For example, someone comes and gives you, or anyway, they give you a gift, or you find 100 dinar, golden coin. Now you cannot have normal life. With this 100 dinar, maybe I can, for example, buy something and then sell it 200 dinar. Then I, buy with that, something else. I sell it 300 dinar. Maybe with this, I can travel and do this and this. So many different ideas come to your mind that to satisfy all those things, then you need thousands of dinars. So sometimes, people, for example, who won lottery or this type of, their life is totally destroyed. Because they had normal life, now they don't know what to do with this money. And also many people expect from them, money. So it's not necessarily a good thing to have extra. Yes.
There's one hadith from Amir al-Mu'min to Muhammad al-Hanfiya.
Yes.
That I'm scared for you for poverty, because poverty takes away the religion. How would we explain this?
Yeah, we don't like poverty, but we say to have enough.
Moderation?
To have sufficient, funds and rest is very good. To have extra might be good, but not for everyone. When you have extra, then it brings lots of challenges. Some people are, mashallah, very strong in Iman. Even if they have billions of pounds, they are very humble, very mu'min, salat, everything is okay. But many people, when they have more than enough, problems start. And sometimes actually you see people who are very rich, they are more miserly
Indeed.
than people who are less rich. If you look at the people who give charity, sometimes you find people who are not that much rich, they give more charity than people who are rich. So, we are not against money, or we are not encouraging poverty, but we say, if you have too much or extra, then be careful, because Shaitan can come and use this and say, you have to add to this. You have to do extra, you have to, things like this. Okay. Then there is a hadith about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I say it quickly and we finish this part. Thabit says, لما بعث النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال إبليس لشياطينه لقد حدث أمر. When Rasulullah was raised as a prophet, was appointed, Iblis said to his Satans, something has happened. فانظروا ما هو. Try to go and find out what has happened. فانطلقوا ثم جاءوا وقالوا ما ندري. They went and came back and said, we don't know what has happened. So he said, okay, I go myself. Again. قال إبليس أنا آتيكم بالخبر. I am going to find out. فذهب وجاء. We went and came back and said, قد بعث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. فجعل يرسل شياطينه إلى أصحاب النبي. When they realized that prophet has been sent as a prophet, so he kept sending his Satans to the companions of the prophet to deceive them. فَيَنْصَرِفُونَ خَائِبِينَ. But they used to return and say, we are disappointed. Why? They said, مَا صَحِبْنَا قَوْمًا قَدْتُ مِثْلَ هَؤُلَاءِ نُصِيبُ مِنْهُمْ ثُمَّ يَقُومُونَ إِلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ فَيَنْمَحِي. We have not seen such people. We manage to affect them, but then they stand up for prayer and everything is finished. قال إبليس رويدا بهم عسى الله أن يفتح لهم الدنيا. Shaitan, the main Shaitan said, don't worry, wait, maybe Allah makes them rich, opens for them dunya, then that's the time that هناك تصيبون حاجتكم منهم. When these people become rich, then that's the time that you can get from them what you want. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us stand against Shaitan and his temptations and his plots, and to be able to be together under the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and under the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.